So hi, this is Joe Brewer. Just wanted to give an update to all of my Patreon supporters to let you know a bit about what we're doing with the Center for Applied Cultural Evolution that we just launched, because this is really what you are supporting. Between us, the only funding that this organization has right now is the funding you are providing. So quite literally, you are making this happen. And so I wanted to give you a couple of updates. As you may know, we have a website. We launched it about 2 weeks ago. We've already got a few hundred people following us on Twitter, more than 300 people following us on Facebook, about 160 people signed up on our newsletter. And so we're starting to build a modest audience around this. But what I think is really exciting is I'm having some great conversations with a group of social entrepreneurs in Mexico, in Brazil, and in Chile about creating what we're calling the Cultural Evolution Toolkit. And this is meant to be a curriculum of tools and frameworks for helping people who are trying to be change makers to learn how to develop themselves as empowered agents, and giving them tools and trainings for how to make themselves more effective as people trying to create change, and also giving them tools and frameworks for understanding the system level complexities of what happens in the messiness of human social systems. Now, there's really powerful tools in the social science research that reveal some of these structures, these mechanisms and patterns that aren't intuitive or obvious. So by having vetted, rigorous research supporting the way that they handle change, the hope is that they'll become more effective. Now, at the same time, I've started a conversation with a blog post on Medium that I wrote last week about universities becoming learning platforms for bioregional resilience. So the basic idea here is that all over the planet, change is happening so quickly that most communities are going to be disrupted in negative ways, whether it's by environmental issues like droughts and wildfires and floods, sea level rise if the communities are on the coasts of the world's oceans, or if it's more of a social disarray because of tribalism and fragmentation, political confrontations, the loss of cooperation and trust, or the things that come out of the drivers of inequality. There are a whole set of things like this that are going to affect communities. And what I really see as being important is for there to be a meshwork of people and organizations within communities that are increasingly connected into feedback loops of learning with the environments that they're embedded in, but also not just the environments as in nature, but the environments as in the social environments. What are the worldviews that people have, the values that they act on, the social norms that shape what is considered acceptable or unacceptable behavior, the structures and institutions, the business practices, the ways that policies are formed, the modes or methods of cooperation. Now, there are so many different ways that communities might do things. So it's going to be very important for people who are in different parts of the world to know how to manage what's going on in their own backyards. At the same time, they need to be able to work at a large enough scale, and this is why I've picked the scale of the bioregion, to be able to coordinate their efforts with bioregions in other parts of the world to try to achieve global goals. So we already know about carbon dioxide levels that are the focus of climate policies, but there are also things like stopping deforestation. There's a really disturbing study that just came out suggesting that if 3% more of the Amazon rainforest is cut down, that the ability of the entire forest ecosystem to fuel its pumping process of bringing in moisture and replenishing itself, that basically that engine of thermodynamics and energy transfer may collapse and unravel, which would have catastrophic effects globally. So there's similar things happening in other parts of the world. What this means is that we need to create really powerful learning environments. The argument that I make in that paper is that universities happen to be located in population centers. They tend to be located in cities. And so they can work as partners with increasing depth of relationship with the cities they're embedded in and the larger regions those cities are a part of. So this is just two ways that, right out of the gate as we launch this research center, we are doing things to try to help. So we're creating curriculum materials that will be shared with change makers around the world, starting in Latin America with things being written in English but immediately translated into Spanish and French, or Spanish and Portuguese, with plans to expand that to other languages later, but also starting to build a conversation around cross-cutting themes like the future of universities, their relationships to cities and their bioregions, to start to stimulate discussion about the visionary things we need to do. So these are a few things that we have going on in the background that you are funding and making possible. And I just want to thank you for your support and really tell you that we literally could not do this without you. You are our lifeline. So thank you, and make comments below this video or below the blog post that I'll put up on Patreon, and let's discuss how you can get involved and we can begin to do this work together. Onward, fellow humans.